What's up, everybody? Welcome to QC Live, the show where we talk for about an hour about what's going on with the Cleveland Browns. A very interesting day to talk about the Cleveland Browns. The Browns made a couple of moves. It seems like they're back in the office making moves. Cut Charlie Hewitt, cut Juan Thornhill. These aren't the most major moves. Obviously, Charlie Hewitt, that move feels like it's been a long time coming. Not because Charlie Hewitt's been a bad player for the Cleveland Browns, but, you know, the mathematics on it just started to make less and less sense. Charlie Hewitt missed a lot of games last year for a long snapper, been in the league 10 years. Seems like it might just be up for him in Cleveland. And Rex Senahar, the other long snapper, gets to keep the job. The Browns, in that move, save about $1 million in cap space. And then the Juan Thornhill move, which I think everybody will agree is a bit more interesting of a move. Browns officially moving on from Juan Thornhill. Now, Juan and the Cleveland Browns, it's been a journey with him and especially this fan base, I would say. Juan has certainly been through his ups and downs. When it comes to Cleveland and Browns fans, right? He made the comment early in his run that basically implied that he felt like a lot of Browns fans are losers. And some people reacted to that very negatively, even though he was trying to make a point about, fans ain't seen a lot of winning and they're just used to losing. So they have a certain mindset. But either way, it did not come across great for Juan, right? So he is gone. And I think this opens up a spot at free safety. You could talk about potentially Ronnie Hickman being the replacement there. I don't think that's going to be the case, even though I think the Browns feel like if a bunch of stuff falls through, we're fine with Ronnie Hickman playing some free safety. And then moving Grant Delpit around. Like, I think they made this move thinking, hey, we are okay with what we have on the roster right now. And if one becomes available, or if a free agent becomes available, or somebody in the draft becomes available, they're obviously not going to shy away from a upgrade. But they're not, if they end up getting nothing, they don't feel like they're in the worst possible situation. I do think they need to go out and get them a safety. If we look at Pro Football Focus, you could bring up my screen here real quick. I got the PFF free agency grades up. If you look at Pro Football Focus, this is who they have becoming available. You got Javon Holland for 4 years, 19 million per, which is very expensive, but he's 25 years old and he's available. So you expect him to be expensive. Cameron Bynum, 3 years, $14 million. If you want to go like Hufanga, might be a cheap kind of prove it deal you can get. He had a really, really good rookie year, kind of went downhill since then. So maybe you go out and get a Hufanga or somebody like that. We can go to the more cheaper options, right? So Harrison Smith is one of those guys, veteran player. Justin Simmons, $6 million, not going to be that expensive. Jeremy Chin, not going to be that expensive. Andre Cisco, So that's what the free agent class looks like. I think it's a strong safety class in the draft, in the mid rounds, right? Because you got guys like Lathan Ransom, you got guys like Andrew Makuba, and Kevin Winston from Penn State, who I think might be fits for the Cleveland Browns here. So some options at safety. We'll see what they want to do at free safety. I know a lot of people saw Justin Simmons not that expensive, and automatically want to do it. This is not the same Justin Simmons we remember from Denver, right? Like, he's significantly less effective. You look at his WAR, wins above replacements. Pro Football Focus had him at 14th his last year in Denver. He was down to 70th his first year in Atlanta. Played a ton of snaps. Went from a 67 grade to a 59 grade. So there was a drop off there for him. If I have any understanding on how the Browns operate, which I do think I do have a little bit of an understanding, Jeremy Chin, that's a name to look out for. Why? 27 years old, right? Not going to be super expensive. The projection is about under $8 million. I don't think they go Harrison Smith. The Browns don't really spend money on old in free agency, right? I think Taleno Hufanga might be an option that they go after, right? A little bit of a project. Definitely a free safety. 26. And then the projection for him is a little high, 12.5 million a year. I expect his market to be around 7 to 8. Maybe the same thing happens with Cameron Bynum, right? Like, they're going to really want to see what happens here. But I expect whoever they bring in to be under 30. I don't think they go over 30, given what their timeline is. Like, Justin Reed would be at the high end of what they could go for, but he's pretty old for them in free agency. You're talking about 28-year-old. Javon would make some sense age-wise, but he's just going to be too expensive. So if we look at the salary cap stuff, so let me pull that up right now. We look at the salary cap stuff for the Cleveland Browns. Right now, if you do the post June 1st for Juan Thornhill, which I think this is a post June 1st cut. The reason I think this is a post June 1st is the reports all said $3.5 million of available cap space they're going to free up, and then some money next year. And that number makes sense if you do a post June 1st. If you do a regular cut, though, they lose $2 million, right? Because they're eating 8 in dead cap. And I don't think that's what they did. I think they post June 1st cut them. So let's assume that's a post June 1st cut. That means the Browns have some flexibility this offseason, but also it means that they can only designate one more post June 1st cut. If we look at the Browns roster, there are 3 guys who you think you would consider for a post June 1st cut. Remember, you can only post June 1st cut 2 players, I believe, right? So you do have a limit on what you can do. The players that would be considered for a post June 1st cut, got Jack Conklin, right? You free up $14 million immediately. Only eat 4 in dead cap for Jack here. Dalvin, you eat up 5, but you free up 6.4. And Ethan Posick, you get the least amount of dead cap, and then you get about $5.9 million in dead cap. Somebody confirmed that it's a post June 1st cut. Appreciate you in the comments for confirming that was a post June 1st cut. So now we're at about $19.5 million in cap space. How do the Browns free up money? Well, there's the obvious, right? You restructure Deshaun Watson. That frees up a bunch of money right then and there. You're already plus in cap space, right? Under the radar moves that the Browns could use to free up some cap space. Jerome Ford, $80 million. I'm not 80 million. Oh, goodness, not 80 million. $80K in dead cap. $3.3 million in cap relief here if you cut Jerome Ford. I think he's a pretty strong lock to be cut. Right, you cut Jerome Ford, and then boom, you're already above your 2025 rookie pool. So that's all you have to do to not just get cap compliant, but also be able to stay above your rookie pool. You would probably, depending on how the draft goes, but I would be pretty sure of it. I think you could replace Pierre Strong pretty easily. So you can replace Pierre Strong here, and now you're 20 plus above in cap space. Some simple restructures you would do. Denzel Ward, almost a certainty. Joe Bitonio will do something with that contract, whether he retires or stays. Wyatt Teller, another guy who's going to be obviously restructured. So we're talking about $40 million in cap space. You can trade Greg Newsome, right? That's something that you have on the table. You could trade Greg Newsome. That'll free up $13 million. You can keep Greg Newsome. That'll cost you $13.3 million. You can't really do anything else with him unless you plan on extending him. I don't think the Browns plan on extending Greg Newsome. All right. Dalvin Tomlinson. He's a post-June 1st cut candidate. If you feel good about your ability to get an extension, with Miles, then you might go ahead and cut Dalvin, right? Because you extend Miles, you don't have to worry about the dead money getting to a ridiculous amount, so you're more willing to take the bigger cut here in a draft that has a bunch of D tackles. Can we put on PW fans chat on screen real quick? The second one, the other one, the more recent one. Thank you. Thing about cutting Ford is the same reason you don't re-sign Chubb, because you be remaking your entire running back room from free agency in the draft. No, you would cut Jerome Ford, you would cut Pierre Strong, and then simply you would do this. Hey, Nick Chubb, would you like to play for $3 million? And Nick Chubb would be like, sure, I'd like to play for $3 million, right? So you do this, you sign Nick Chubb to a very cheap contract, and then you draft 2 running backs. And honestly, what's the difference between having 2 rookies behind Nick Chubb and Jerome Ford and Pierre Strong? It's not that different. The Jerome Ford and Pierre Strong are not ultra experienced. And even experience, like how much does that matter at the running back position? You just want somebody with fresh legs back there. So you just easily just sign Nick Chubb, draft 2 running backs. Pretty simple solution there. But thank you for the comment there. So now we're back to this cap situation, right? We're at $38 million of cap space. And we're trying to free up more. You can cut Ethan Posick. I think they go after a center in free agency. They cut Ethan Posick. They get the $44 million here. They're going to work some kind of restructure, renegotiation out with Jack Conklin. Let's just call it a restructure right now and then free up some more money. So you're sitting at $54 million of cap space. The Browns could do more to free up space. If you want to keep Dalvin Tomlinson on the team, you can restructure him, and it won't really cost you that much down the line. That'll free up some money right now. You can trade Greg Newsome. That'll get you to $72 million under the cap. And then you can make it to 80 pretty easily here, right? Because you're going to have to cut some guys because of the total number of people who are going to be on your roster after the draft. Remember, the Browns are going to draft potentially 12 players in this draft class, which means it's 12 roster spots. It's a good chunk of the roster that you're going to be adding on. If the Browns pick at every selection, right? So you got a 53-man roster, then they roster all 12 picks, which the Browns tend to like to do, right? You're talking about 22% of the roster. It's going to become in the draft, which means you're going to cut a significant portion of what's on your cap sheet. So like Dorian Thompson-Robinson likely gets cut this offseason. Trey McKitty, Sam Kamara likely gets cut here, right? Luke Whippler's going to stay. Jamari Thrash is going to stay. Ronnie Hickman's going to stay. Allerson Smith, he's gone, right? Miles Harden, Nathaniel Watson, they likely stay. Javion Cohen, let's say he gets cut, thrown on the practice squad. Troy Hairston, Jawan Briggs, he gets to stay. But Brandon Bates, he's gone. Boom, you're at $80 million in cap space. Now, what could you use some of that cap space for? Let's talk about the dream scenario, right? We talked about Matt Stafford or Geno Smith. Now, if you're traded for Matt Stafford or Geno Smith, let's do Geno Smith first. This would be the cap implications for 2025, which would be if you just let him play out his contract, you didn't sign him to an extension, it would be $31 million against the cap, which you could easily afford with what the Browns have on the roster right now. Now, likely what would happen if you brought in Geno Smith is that you would have to give Geno a new contract. What that contract would look like, I don't know, but it would definitely have a lower base salary. The Browns don't really do 14.8. They don't really do big base salaries. What the Browns like to do is spread stuff out over void years, right? And then let's say they're giving Geno Smith a 2-year. Let's say they're giving Geno Smith 3 years at $35 million, right? So we're talking about 35 times 3, $105 million over total with $60 million guaranteed. How would the Browns structure that contract? This is just a rough estimate of it. Don't take this for gospel. Please don't take this for gospel. But yeah, the Browns could structure this like what you get 20. Let's just not even play with that right now. 60 here, so that's 60 accounted for. You'll probably want to run a low cap number until 2027, and then it's 60 over, with 2 void years. My bad. So there, and then you would probably want to run this to be about like what? Just put a bunch of money here in a bonus so you can move off the deal pretty fast. So let's just put 40 here. This is super rough. So you can structure the deal like that. Everything's accounted for in the cap, and then you could transact it like that, and his number would technically lower, so you would have more space to do it. Same thing applies with somebody like Matt Stafford, who would probably get a new contract if he were brought in. If you just bring him in on the old contract, he's not going to be that expensive. 27 this year, 31 next year. So not that expensive of a deal. You can work with it. But if he wants a new deal in Cleveland, which he's likely to want, then you're going to have to give him more money, structure the deal in a similar way that you would have to structure with Geno, and free up money basically so that a lot of this shit hits in 2027. One, because the cap's it's 2 years of cap growth that you're accounting for. And then also that's the year where you get free of a lot of your liabilities in the salary cap sheet. Now, some things could change this. Let's say you give Myles Garrett some kind of extension here, right, where he has all this new money in his contract. That could change things. You can move some of these non-prorated bonuses into the future, tack on a signing bonus that makes him incentivized to sign a deal now. That will kind of change how he gets his money, but it'll be more money at the end of the day. There's a lot the Browns could do here with this kind of cap space, with this kind of maneuverability. And as you see, they don't really have to do a ton to get here. Now, I don't think they're going to go for $80 million in cap space to start free agency. They will stagger this right throughout the entire offseason process so that, that when they're negotiating, like they're never going to be more than like $30 million in cap space, right? Like they're going to always be pretty tight on it, but they're going to free up more and more space when they need it. So that's a way that the Browns can really maneuver this whole thing and continue down the path of freeing up some space if they feel like a move to be ultra competitive this year presents itself, like a Matt Stafford trade or a Geno Smith trade. Now, me personally, if we're talking about the value, what someone said he wants $50 million, what Geno wants 50. All right, well, Geno might want 50. He might get 45. But yeah, we'll see what Geno gets. Anyways, all that being said, if we're looking at some of these best case scenarios, right, and we're talking about trading for a quarterback, it is important to remember that the price goes in to whatever math you're doing in your head about the quarterback position, right? So if you want to trade for Matt Stafford, you can't be so thirsty to trade for Matt Stafford that you're willing to give up number 2 overall or give up number 33 overall. I think you need to draw a hard line. Maybe you're willing to bundle some picks together, but giving up 33 and 2, you got to take that off the table right now. I don't know what that does to your ability to trade, because maybe somebody's willing to offer a late second, which seems possible. But yeah, if you're the Browns, you got to protect those 2 assets and do whatever you can to protect those 2 assets. If you have to give up one of those 2 assets, I think the price is too high. If you can stay put with those 2, then I think the price is just right. But you got to have that conversation there. Also, you got to have a conversation with Myles about how likely this extension is with him. And, if the money's going to be right, like, is he willing to sign it? All of these conversations need to be had before we can really get excited about doing anything with the cap space. The one thing we do know is that the Browns definitely got in the office. They started making stuff happen today, right? I don't think that was a coincidence. Now, I don't think it means that something big is happening, but I think it's not a coincidence that this is the case here. The Browns are definitely going to be doing something in free agency. I don't know what extent that something's going to be, but they're definitely going to be active. And we know that the Myles Garrett situation, the first road bump in this whole thing, is going to come up soon, March 16th, where he has a bonus that's available. So if he wants to get that bonus, then that means even more dead cap would accelerate for the Cleveland Browns, which means even more unlikely he gets traded. So that's the next thing to look forward to when it comes to that whole situation. Let's jump into, now that we've kind of set the framework for, let's actually go through free agency, right? So we'll do a whole free agent sim here. This should be fun, okay? All right, so we kind of established how the Browns can free up space. We already talked about how the Browns are going to bring back Nick Chubb and other guys in order to maneuver here. I'm going to cut, post June 1st, cut Ethan Posick. And then Greg Newsome is a piece that I could play later on to get something down the line. Also, Myles Garrett. We're just going to leave that blank there. We're just going to have him play on his original deal for the time being. Now, with all that being said, what can the Browns do that would be interesting in free agency? Well, let's go back to Pro Football Focus, right? Let's look at their free agents. Two positions I like for the Browns, right? Center and tackle. Now, we're not in the market for Ronnie Stanley. He's going to be far too expensive, right? I'd be shocked if we get Ronnie. And I don't know if Ronnie's really worth the $20 million a year that he might get on the open market. And also the Ravens are very likely to bring him back. Cam Robinson is somebody you can go after. I'm not very excited about that. But if we're looking at center, Drew Dalman makes a ton of sense. He is a center that fits the profile of what the Cleveland Browns look for, right? 6'3", 300 pounds. This is somebody who can move, really good run blocker, good overall grade. If we're looking at him year by year, 2023, he was really good in Arthur Smith's system, which I think is an important thing to point out with him. This is somebody who was especially good in a system very similar to what the Browns do with what the Browns already do with their wide zone scheme. So Drew Dalman, somebody that I think would be interesting for the Cleveland Browns. And I think they would be definitely interested in. So let's say the Browns want to go after Drew Dalman. We see the average there, 4 years, $14 million. Let's say Pro Football Focus is right on that. You want to bring in Drew Dalman, right? Let's go, Drew. Right here. We're talking about 4 years. The Browns love to keep these base salaries super low. So they're not going to really touch these base salaries. And again, we're just doing napkin math with these contracts right now. So what, $14 million a year? You're not going to pay all of that straight up, right? We're talking about 56 total. Browns will probably put 30 in the signing bonus, probably 35 in the signing bonus, right? So they can spread it out throughout years. This is where void years come in. It's a 4-year deal. You add one more void year to spread it out to about 7. So that's 35 of the 56 accounted for. So let's move that here. All right. So now we have 20 million left to account for, and you're going to account for this 20 million in non-prorated bonuses. You can spread it out like this, right? You got about 20 million to spread out. So you can spread it out like this. 5 million in the second year, not 50, 5 million in the second year. So his number will go up to 13. And then $10 million roster bonus in his third year. And then in that last year of the contract, you got to be sure he's worth it. It's a $20 million roster bonus. You would hope that he would never see this cap number. You would work an extension out if he's worth it. If not, you would just cut him. So yeah, that's how you would structure a rough structure around the deal. The guaranteed money would probably be pretty high here, but I could put 500,000. It's not going to change the cap number here. So we're not really going to focus on that. So this would keep the number low until 2027, where it rises a little bit and then explodes in 2028, where you hope if he's worth the contract, you would extend him. If he's not, you would just move on from him, right? So that would take about $8 million of cap space if you left him sitting, if you gave him that kind of a deal. Let's continue here with the tackle position, right? Because that is another position where the Browns find themselves searching for. Somebody in chat mentioned a Mary Kay story about JOK. Can you please tell me more information about what it is that you're talking about? Because I have no idea what person in chat is talking about. Let's go here real quick. Let's take a quick detour. JOK Browns. Okay, it's nothing. It's nothing. I don't know why you. Okay, so back to the video. Drew Dalman. You signed him. You got him under contract. You're fine with the deal here. And then let's go ahead. Let's shop for a tackle, right? So we got a center. We got rid of Posick. Let's shop for a tackle. We want more of an answer at left tackle. Now, one of the big questions you're going to have to answer here is how confident are you in DeJuan Jones? Let's do a show of hands in chat, right? Let's do a vote. If we could, can we get a poll in chat if that's possible? And ask the question, vote of confidence, should DeJuan Jones be the unquestioned starter at left tackle in 2024? Because that changes who we look for, right? So yes or no, let's get a vote of confidence for DeJuan Jones as a tackle, as a left tackle. Are we rolling into the season saying that's our guy? What are we looking? Are we looking for a backup swing tackle in free agency, or are we looking for a starter? Because depending on what you're looking for, the X is very different, right? Healthy, confident, no confidence in his health. Well, he's going to be back for camp. That's what the report says. He's going to be back for camp. So how we feeling? How we feeling about him? Right? Because that really will determine a lot about what you want to do at that position. If we pull over to here, right? And let's try to make sure that we're only getting players who played snaps before. I'm willing to, I keep him around, Speedball Jones. What was the first one? I didn't get to read that one. Needs competition. Are we trying to bring in competition? All right. So we're trying to bring in competition as long as he's right and healthy. But we're not trying to go for like a long-term starter here. I think I would make the argument that I would go for a long-term starter at left tackle if you can go get one. I personally would make that argument, right? Now, you could go after somebody like Stone Forsythe, who would be a swing tackle, and he would be cheap, right? What's Stone's current contract? He's on a $1 million vet minimum deal. Yeah, you get somebody like Stone Forsythe, who would be on a vet min. I think the price has to be right on like an Alaric Jackson. I think that's somebody they can go after, right? But we'll see what the future is for DeJuan. But the reason I bring that up is that changes what you do here, right? Because if you want to go after like Alaric Jackson, who is Pro Football Focus's 40th ranked, 47th ranked free agent, he is a tackle. He has started for the Rams for the last 2 seasons, I believe, at one of the tackle positions. I believe it's left. And he's a pretty good run blocker. You could go after somebody like Dan Moore. Now, that would be high-tier competition, but I think you get Dan Moore for like 3 years, 30. So how do we feel about this? Do we want to go after somebody who's more aimed to be a starter or a vet who definitely can play just in case, like an upgrade from what you had with James Hudson? We going for that? Let's say we go for that, right? We go Dan Moore. We go Dan Moore. We give Dan essentially a 2-year deal with one void. And let's say we give Dan $10 million a year. So we're probably giving him I would say 10 in the signing bonus. And then we'll make it so that his prorated bonuses are $5 million and then 15, which is about, no, that's too much. Yeah. So 15 and then 10. All right. And that's how he would get his 30 if it were to happen. Yep. That makes sense. So you would do a deal like this for Dan Moore. You got a backup swing. You're trusting that maybe with competition, DeJuan could emerge as a starter. But if he does not, you'll start Dan Moore for a season or two on a cheap contract. Well, not a cheap contract, on a mid-range contract, right? I would probably, if that's the case, bring back James Hudson on the vet min. Anybody else I'm planning to bring back? No, I'm good on Nick Harris. I trust Luke Whippler enough to compete here. D'Anthony Bell, I would give a tender to, but I'm gonna give him this tender. So we're gonna give D'Anthony Bell a bit of a tender, and let's go with the most likely at quarterback for now. Let's say we get Kirk Cousins, right? So we're not gonna shoot for the moon here. Let's go Kirk Cousins. He gets cut from Atlanta and he signs a vet minimum in Cleveland. Let's say it's what's it, $1.5 million or whatever. Not 15, 1.5. All right. So Kirk on the vet min. Free agent receivers. Somebody asked about free agent receivers. Let's look at free agent receivers right now. It's T. Higgins at the top, but T. Higgins is likely to be retained by Cincinnati. Then there's Chris Godwin, Amari Cooper, Stephon Diggs, who did not have a great season last year, and looks like there is a significant fall off right here from 2022 to the last two seasons. And then we're talking about like D-Hop, Marquise Brown, Darius Slayton, Keenan Allen, Deontay Johnson, Mike Williams. It's not looking good, I would say. It's not looking good. Yeah, who y'all want to get? Brandon Cooks? Let's go get Brandon Cooks. We'll get a vet. Let's get Brandon Cooks in here, right? Let's get a veteran. We'll go get Brandon Cooks. How about that, right? So we bring in Brandon Cooks on a 1-year, $3 million deal. All right. Let's go here. Let's turn that 1 to a 3. And boom. Brandon Cooks, $3 million deal here. Anywhere else, the Browns projected to get free agents here, right? I don't think they're going to touch running back, tight end. They already touched the offensive line, safeties, Andre Cisco, Jeremy Chin. We feeling safety here? Let's leave that for the draft. We'll leave safety for the draft. It'll go into one of our needs. Linebackers, Dre Greenlaw would be a similar gamble to what you're already dealing with JOK. But I would be interested in it. All right. So we went through let's just say that's the Browns free agency, right? They do this in free agency. They bring in Dan Moore, Drew Dowman, Nick Chubb, James Hudson back, Kirk Cousins, D'Anthony Bell, Brandon Cooks. To be a veteran, let's also bring back Devin Bush let's give him an extra mil. He played well last year. Ronnie McLeod is leaving. We are not trying to bring back Jedrick Wills. We are probably leaving Elijah Moore behind to let other guys get reps. Jermaine Ifedi's gone. Jordan Atkins, Garyon Christian. Nope. All right, let's bring in Jacoby Brissett to the backup. Let's bring in Jacoby. All right, let's bring in Jacoby Brissett. And vet minimum, boom. So we're sitting here. We got $45 million in cap space. Really, though, you got to think about it. We got that rookie pool that we have to factor in. So 45, but you got 18 reserved for the rookies. Got about $27 million of cap space. And that's usually where the Browns like to sit. Probably would sign one more player, maybe $6 million for a safety here would be in the budget, but they like to stay above $20 million of rollover for how they like to budget for the salary cap. So this would be the offseason. Let's move into the mock draft. So we addressed in the offseason the offensive line. But we do still need pieces here. We're going to go 7 rounds. And how fast do we want it? We don't want it turbo. Let's have it be like, let's move with some pace, but not that fast, right? Do I think Jacoby Brissett will come back to Cleveland? Why wouldn't Jacoby Brissett come back to Cleveland? Like, there's no bad blood there. All right. let's go ahead and get into the draft, right? So let's say they go Cam Ward. No, they go Abdul Carter. Fun. So it gets to be a double whammy for me. Not only is it a free agent simulation, is what the hell do you do if Abdul Carter goes at 2? This is the situation I would hate being in because I want Abdul Carter more than I want Travis Hunter. But I honestly don't mind taking Travis Hunter here. Now, in this position, there's going to be pressure to take quarterback. I am not going to succumb to that pressure here. Now, New England is on the phone. They want to trade with me. You know, they want to trade with me. So New England wants to trade with me. They want 4. Let's see what we can get here. So they want 4 for 2. Let's see if they're willing to give me 38. Okay, see, this is the trade logic is so crazy here. They're going to give me this and 38. All right, 69. That's a 69% or 97% chance of being selected here. But Abdul Carter gone. I could pick up an extra first next year, and it is New England's first, which I feel amazing about. All right, so we have that pick on the line here for New England, right? 469 and round 1 next year, and then let's just for the hell of it, let's get 104. Can we get 77? They might swing on 77, but we could definitely get 104, right? So let me go write that down somewhere. That's the pick there, right? 469, 104, and a 1 next year. All right, so that's the deal to beat. Let's see what the Raiders want to move back a little bit further. Are they going to give me a first next year? Okay, they are. Now, New England was willing to give us 69. All right, so let's see if we get 68. And let's see what 73. We can get 73 from them to move down 2 extra spots. Now, if we move with New England, and let's say New England tells me they want Ted McMillan, right? So New England's on the phone with me. They say, hey, cool, we want Ted McMillan. That's who we want. I have insurance in knowing, okay, well, if I move back with New England, I really only got to worry about the Giants. And I could still end up at 4 with the player I would have took at 2, which is Travis Hunter. Now, that matters, right? Because if I move back to 6, I'm giving up on Travis Hunter here, right? So I think the package needs to be a little bit more crazy for me to do it than slightly better than what New England's doing. So given that they're not willing to go crazy, right? Like this would be, I mean, they might do that. That might be that would be worth it, but let's just not act like Las Vegas done lost their damn mind. New England, they really like Ted McMillan. They feel like they need to get Ted there for their young quarterback, and they're willing to move heaven and earth for him. I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let's get Ted McMillan. Let's get this trade in, and let's start the draft out differently. So we get 469, 104, and a first round next year. They offer the trade. New England accepts it. Now, they told me they were getting Ted. They get Travis. So they lied to me. But in that scenario, if you did that trade in real life, you would know who New England would want. If they call you and say they want Travis Hunter and you want Travis Hunter, then that deal becomes more expensive. If they call you and say that they want Ted McMillan, a player you aren't interested in taking in that spot, then you're a lot more free to move around when it comes to what you're willing to take. So that is something to consider when you're looking at the trade. But let's say we do this trade, right? We move back to 4. Ted's there. Mason Graham's there. If we could bring the draft back on screen, I believe I have it fixed now. So these guys are here. I would probably go Mason Graham. I don't think I'm going to get much objection with Mason Graham. But they wanted Travis Hunter too. Okay. So let's go Mason Graham. I got 3 he's one of the 4 best players in this class to me. So I'm still going to be excited about getting Mason here at 4. Picking up some extra picks. I got some extra thirds. Feel pretty good about that. All right, so let's just take Mason and let's watch the board. Let's also look at the board real quick before we move on, right? What wide receivers? Ibuka. We're gonna keep an eye on Ibuka and see if he falls out. And then we're also gonna want to keep an eye on tight end. And Josh Simmons is another one I want to keep an eye on, right? So let's keep an eye on Josh Simmons here. If he falls out the top 25, then we're going to make a move to go get him. But yeah, we'll turn this pick in for Mason Graham. And we're going to watch Jade. Josh Simmons just went 12, so he didn't fall. All right, let's continue. Genty Ibuka just went at 15. So we're still going to probably sit here. Shador went 21. Is Cam still on the board? I believe Cam. No, Cam went 3. Okay, cool. All right. So Shador, if he would have fell past Pittsburgh, or maybe even like I would consider trading up before Pittsburgh to go get Cam. I didn't do it in this one. I mean, not Cam, Shador. We're going to roll here. Matthew Golden, Josh Connolly Jr. All right. So we're sitting at 33. And I'm probably going to move back here. I'm probably going to move back depending on what I get. So 43, 46, 48, 52. Let's see what the 49ers want to give up. Are they willing to? No. What about 99? Yeah, but that's not enough. It's not enough to move back 10 spots, man. That's just not enough. How about we do this and I swap you 94 and then I pick up 99? How about that? That makes more sense to me. Do you guys in chat like that, or do you guys want me to draft a pick here? Yeah, let's get a player here. Let's just draft some players here. Let's have some fun. If you did this trade in real life, you would probably be trying to pick up players later. But let's offer that trade up. They take it. We move back to 43, which is steep here. They take a tight end. All right. So Jahad Campbell's still there. And we got so many extra picks, man. We can really afford to just take a luxury player at this point. Now we got Mason Graham, Jahad Campbell, Siobhan Revel. Yeah, let's go Jahad. Jahad's just a hell of a playmaking linebacker. Gives you insurance for JOK if he doesn't come back. But if he does, then you have 2 heat-seeking missiles in your linebacker room, and I think that'd be a fun thing to play around with here. So let's go Jahad. And then let's keep our eyes on the board before 67. We also got pick 43? Well, this is pick 43. So let's keep our eyes on the board here. At wide receiver, what's up with wide receiver? So nothing really going on at wide receiver. I'm gonna keep an eye on Jaden Higgins for 69. Tight end, nothing really going on there. And then running back, let's see if anything crazy is going on in running back. Caleb Johnson's still there. All right, cool. So I'm sitting fine. Yeah, let's take Jahad Campbell. Landon Jackson, Restrepo, Shamar Turner, Alfred Collins. Caleb Johnson just went at 54. Son of a bitch. I should have traded in there. All right, let's continue. Kyle Kennard, Jaden Higgins just went to Baltimore. Last time I did the draft on here, I think the board fell perfectly for me. This is the exact opposite. I feel like the board is just screwing me today. All right. What are we going to Travion? Yeah, let's just get Travion and let's get the quarterback first. Let's get Will. I like Will here at 67. I'm going to take him. And then I'm going to come around and get Travion. All right, we got 75 here. And let's look at safety. Lathan, this is a lot of Ohio State. Should I go one more Buckeye? Should I go one more Buckeye, chat? Trey is the play. Yeah, obviously I like Trey Henderson. All right, Lathan Ransom. I don't know. I feel like Lathan's more of a strong safety, right? Like, do I want to get somebody who can move around, but he's longer, taller guy? Makuba's real small. I'm gonna get Lathan. I like Lathan better. I'm gonna be honest. Heat-seeking missile, playmaker. Maybe he's gonna make a couple mistakes, but you're hoping to attack downhill a lot. If somebody wants to trade, Cincinnati's the only team that wants to trade with me. So yeah, let's just go here. How many picks do I have? I have an egregious amount of picks. Yeah, I think I'm gonna cash these out. Oh, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I gotta get rid of 4 of these picks. Let's see. Who can I move around with? See the coats here. How much time I got? 13 minutes. So can I get 80 for what all this extra shit I got? Let's go ahead and ship. Just 2, 3, 4. This is way too many picks. Let's see. We'll move up from 104 to 80. And we're willing to give you 191, 178. No, they're not budging. They're not budging at all. Okay. They're not budging at all on this. How about 115? I'll take 115. And then let's just swap up here. Okay, hold on. You know what? That works for me. All right, cool. All right, just had to get rid of some of these extra picks. All right, cool. So, I mean, probably would go about it differently in real life, but anyways, we're here. Pick 75. We've already picked a interior, a Jihad Campbell. We got 2 Ohio State Buckeyes back to back, and we're going to take Lathan Ransom here to fill our safety hole. So 3 Buckeyes. And I think I'm probably going to go tight end here. Jalen Milroe just went. All right, let's get a tight end. Harold Fanon Jr., Terrence Ferguson. This is pretty easy. Harold Fanon. All right, so Dylan Gabriel just went here. Kobe Bryant went, which kind of hurts. See, offensive tackle. Jalen Rivers is there. Emory Jones is there. See what's available at running back. RJ Harvey. Brashad Smith. How well did Brashad Smith block? I thought he ran some really crisp routes at the Senior Bowl. I wonder if he can block. How big is he? He's not that big. If he can block. Well, actually, I don't need him to block or run routes. I got Travion. I probably go Giddens if I go for another running back. Just straight up good runner. Yeah, but I don't got to take Giddens right here. So let me look at wide receiver. Noel. Okay, it's looking real nasty at wide receiver. Nope. Oh, Makuba's still there. I mean, a value alone, I'd just do it, right? Let's make sure I'm not making a mistake here. Linebacker. Okay, nope. Now I don't think I'm making a mistake here. Let's go Makuba. Let's get another guy. He could play safety. I mean, he can play safety, but he can also play nickel, which I think would be important, right? Let's go ahead and get DJ Giddens. Right, we'll just grab DJ Giddens here. Get our second running back. Jadon Blue is there, but I already got an explosive athlete in Travion. I don't think I need to double up here with Jadon. Let's go, DJ. Let's get DJ Giddens. All right, so we're pick 115. Just to recap, Mason Graham, Jahad Campbell picked up a first next year, which makes this a lot better. Will Howard, Travion Henderson, Lathan Ransom, Harold Fanon, Andrew Makuba, DJ Giddens. So 2 running backs, 2 safeties, well, 2 DBs, a tight end, a quarterback, a linebacker, and a defensive interior. Walk into a draft class. Are there any edges? No, there aren't any edges. All right, defensive interior guys. Seems like it's pretty dry up there. All right, let's look at the board. Barry Sorrell, Jalen Noel, Jackson Dart, Amin Hassan, Damian Martinez. I hate how the board fell for me in this one. Let's go Quincy Riley. Let's get another corner. No, I did not draft Quincy Riley just because his name is Quincy. It's a good theory, though. All right, now we're just going to finish out this draft here with 164 and 216. Let's speed it up. All right. Connor Colby, I'll take him. Yeah, let's get a guard. And then with the last pick of the draft, which is really useful for knowing who's going to go undrafted. So Curtis Work probably gets a camp invite. Max Brosmer probably gets a camp invite. Oh, yeah, we're going to take LeJontay Webster here. Who else gets one? Yeah, we're not going to invite any of these tight ends. Running back wise, I mean, I would take Jaden Blue here if I really thought there was a chance he'd be there. Raheem Sanders gets a camp invite. Offensive tackle prospects. Is Vincent here? Ooh, Carson Vincent, undrafted free agent. I'll give him an invite. Ty Robinson gets a camp invite. Might be the selection here. So LeJontay Webster, I'm inviting him to camp, and I'm gonna take Ty Robinson here and call it a day. Not in love with this one, to be honest with you. Not in love with this draft, but it's fine. Let's just take LaQuinn Allen for fun. All right. So not in love with this draft class, to be honest with you. Felt like the board did not fall in my favor. I missed the opportunity to trade for Shador in this one because I wasn't paying attention close enough. So really would have liked that. But what I do like about this scenario, I still think it's a pretty solid class overall. You pick up that extra first round pick, you get Mason Graham, for picking up that extra, and you get a third and a fourth as well. You're able to get Jahad Campbell. So this defense, I feel like, is going to be really good, especially if you can get Myles Garrett back and JOK healthy. This defense is loaded now with just those 2 acquisitions because those guys are going to be good. Will Howard, he's my favorite quarterback to watch in this class. I feel fine taking him in the early 3rd round. I have no hesitations about taking Will Howard early 3rd. I don't think it's a reach at all. I think it's a good spot to grab him. Lathan Ransom, Travion Henderson. I know it's a lot of Ohio State guys. I promise you I'm not an Ohio State fan, but I think you get Trey and Lathan here. It's a pretty good haul, especially if you can swing back, get Makuba, have him play slot for you. I think you're doing pretty good in that secondary. You get Harold Fanon Jr., who can take over for David Njoku, hopefully. DJ Giddens can be your 3rd running back. Quincy Riley, and then you're going Connor Colby, get an extra guard on there, get an extra defensive interior player, and then LaQuinn Allen, just a fun running back that you could throw in there who you know is going to be able to pass protect and keep your quarterbacks clean during the preseason. So that is the theory there, the off-season theory, the regular season theory for moving forward. with this team. Again, just an exercise of how the board plays. In this one, they decided that Abdul Carter's going number one, which, hey, we got to be honest, is an increasingly more realistic scenario as this process goes on, that Abdul Carter might be the number one overall pick. And it's funny how this all kind of shifted, because at first we were worried about if a team's going to take quarterback, but now we're sitting here closer and closer to the draft. We're a few days away from the combine. And the concern is Abdul even going to be there at 2? I think that's going to be the big question going into the draft. Is Abdul going to be there at 2? If Abdul is there at 2, you take him. If Abdul is not there at 2, well, what now? Right? I would go Travis Hunter. I can understand some people saying, hey, no, I would trade back. It's going to be an interesting discussion that needs to be had. But this is the first one. And I think many mock drafts going forward where Abdul Carter potentially goes number one. I don't think it's a guarantee that he's there at 2. But it is a guarantee that Travis Hunter will be there. Well, Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter would be there too. What do you do? But that's this mock draft scenario. I want to thank everybody for watching Quincy Carrier Live and walking through the offseason with me. You guys have an excellent rest of your day. OBR has some fun programming lined up for you next. Jacob and Sam are on next with the dueling mock drafts. Let's see if they do something a little bit more interesting than what I was able to do, or maybe they do something more exciting. So we'll see what they're able to do coming up next. But I want to thank you guys for watching. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.